Okay, so we decided to lay everything out today, what we're going to be doing. For the kick, we're going to use the Beta 52. That's a great microphone to use for kick. It has a lot of low end and really wants to capture the sound of the band. It's more of a southern rock kind of sound, so we want this nice, really tight, boomy kick. And then we're going to throw into the Manly 1. It's a little bit, as I understand, it's a little bit of a darker sound, but at the same time, it will probably not colorize it as much. And the same goes for each one of the toms. That's what we have running through there. And on the toms, just to skip the snare, just since we were talking about them, we have 57 on the high tom, and then on the two floor toms that we had a 421. Since the 57 has a little bit of a higher presence, we've wanted to keep for the tom 1 that's a little higher tuned, and then the tom 2 and 3 are both lower. And why not have a microphone that has a little bit more low end to really capture that boom when he kicks that low end, but nothing too crazy like a Beta 52 on it. And like we said, we put that through the Manly. Snare, we did a top bottom snare just to get some variety. We put 57 on both. That way they're trying to keep them as even as possible. Nothing like too colored on either one, and that's why we use the Focusrite 1 and 2. Focusrite won't color the sound as much. I wouldn't call it vanilla, but it's definitely nothing like a Shadow Hills or a UA. Then last but not least, we have the overhead left and right. We use the Earthworks microphone. Very large range. We got really good sounds out of it, and we put them through the Ventex just because I don't think we've ever done that before, and we want to try a different preamp. Something different, kind of basic, so why not try Ventec?
So for today's session, in addition to drums, we've got a lot of guitars going on, as well as bass. So starting with the bass guitar, we mic'd the bass cab. We also got a DI signal. So for our bass cab, we're using the RE20, because why not? The RE20 can sometimes kind of be pigeonholed as a one-dimensional mic, but it's good on a lot of instruments. For the bass especially, we felt like it would capture kind of an overall sound of the bass. And then we put it through the Shadow Hills preamp, which gives a bit of a darker tone, which we felt like would be great for the bass. So Shadow Hills was our preamp of choice there for the cab and for the DI. And then for the DI, we just use a radio DI because that is what was available to us in the studio. Have to work with what you have, but it sounded great. For our electric guitars, we had a left and a right. For the first guitar pairing, we used a 214 and a 421, and both of those are going through the Daking. The idea with pairing the 214 and the 421 was to capture warmth and brightness, and that goes along with placement on the cab as well. And then the reason for the Dakings was in microphone preamp shootouts that we had done, we noticed that we liked the sound of Dakings preamps for guitars. It kind of gives some crunch to it, a little bit of distortion and coloration, but enough to be tasteful, not nasty. So now moving to our second electric guitar, we have a 214 and an SM57. This microphone pairing we've done before at places like the Recording Workshop or even in other sessions here at Capitol, so we know that sound and we like that sound. And again, this guitar is going through Daking preamps like before for the same reasons. The color's cool. So now moving on to our acoustic guitars. We did have rooms as well for the acoustic, but our acoustic guitar, we decided to go with a mid-side configurations to capture a better stereo image with a 214 for our directional microphone and then a Royer for our bidirectional. And then we went through the Focusrites. The Focusrites are cool because while they don't do anything super outlandish, they're able to capture kind of sparkle really well, and it brightens up the signal, which for an acoustic, the strings are rich and you wanted to be able to capture that, so that's what we went with there. Finally, we had a Telecaster to give some little frilly stuff going on. We mic'd up the cab with a 214, and we put that through the decking as well. Telecasters have a really distinctive, memorable sound, and we felt that the combination of the 214 being able to capture a little bit of the low that was going on, but mostly some of the mid-range and the high, and the decking, we knew that we would still get some distortion and coloration that was tasteful without pushing it.
So for the vocals, I think there was no doubt that we were going to use the U87. I really, for this band, I didn't think we wanted to go experiment or do anything crazy. I think we both wanted just to get a sound that was going to just kill it from the beginning to the end. And what better than the U87 going into the Focusrite? Really standard sounds getting, coming out of those. Nothing, too crazy, but it does provide these really nice sparkles and like good body to all the sounds that we produce. And that was for the lead vocals, the vocal duplicates, and the harmonies that we captured. And then we decided to get some room tones out of everything. So the side room was right there outside in the kind of like in the airlock chamber kind of a thing. We decided to do the other U87 out there to kind of capture the drum sounds. We isolated the guitar cabs from the players in the rooms so they could be in the same live room as the drummer, and we think that was going to give a better performance. So I think by doing that, we were able just to capture the sound of the drums in a like kind of a far off sound, get some natural reverb in there, and just having some room mics in the guitar just gives us some different sounds. Farther away gives you more of a room sound, less of a up close, just capturing everything, maybe giving some air in there. And for that, we use Royers. We wanted to keep them pretty standard across both, so we weren't like playing around with different tones and wish we would have put one somewhere else. We were just kind of making sure if we had to do something like a left and a right, we were trying to keep it pretty even. And then that's why for all three rooms, we used the ones on the API preamps. If you kind of come over here, just kind of look at these, you have a lot of options, but at the end of the day, they're very easy to use. Just be able to throw on the mic, throw on the 48 volts, and turn up the gain. It wasn't, we weren't looking for a tone. We were looking to capture the sound of the room, which I think API's circuitry really does a good job at not colorizing very much. So that's why we went with the API. Other than that, I think that's pretty much all the stuff that we did for the mics.